Low-quality fans of a high-quality Bruins team. Welcome back. We have a little Bruins news. The Bruins signed a player. They signed Tyler Johnson to a one-year, $775,000 contract. That is the league or veteran minimum, I believe. There is something quirky about the way they did it, where we still have over $1 million left on the cap, so we can still call someone up if necessary. So that's cool. He stuck around. I'm happy for Tyler Johnson here. He stuck through preseason and a PTO, trying to get on with the team, and he's finally rewarded for it. That's great. That's really great for Tyler Johnson. The thing with Tyler Johnson is he's a 35-year-old who can play right wing, left wing, center. He's historically played all three positions. He played for the Chicago Blackhawks last year, and he put up 31 points in 67 games played, along with 17 goals. Great. I think people are a little too excited about this. I don't want to just pour rain down on everyone's parade immediately. But if you remember in the preseason, I went, oh, it's just a PTO, so I'm not going to get upset about it, but fine. Okay, I'm not like a Tyler Johnson fan. It is prime. I'm not like a Tyler Johnson now fan. There's a reason. There's a reason for that. What this means for the team isn't much immediately. He does slot in, I believe, on the third line pretty quickly. But he shouldn't be forcing anyone out of the lineup other than Morgan Geekie right now. Which is crazy to say, because Morgan Geekie is, in my opinion, a better hockey player than Tyler Johnson. But I don't think, even with Trent Frederick's cold streak right now, that he's going to get moved out. Poitras getting moved out would be pretty freaking insane to me. Anyone in the top six, although there's underperformers across the board, it just doesn't make sense that Tyler Johnson would force them out. But he's another depth signing for a bottom six guy, a winger, and maybe they're hoping that he brings some more pop to the finishing of the bottom of the lineup. Maybe they're sick of Morgan Geekie on the second power play unit and wanted to have another option there. Maybe that's it. That's fine by me. It makes sense. But the reason I'm not a big Tyler Johnson fan is because I don't think he's very good anymore. I know. Isn't that weird? 17 goals in 67 games is nothing to scoff at. 31 points. That being said, 9 of those goals came at even strength. So 8 of them came on the power play. A power play that he was working with Connor Bedard on. So that helps. He, at even strength, had some of the worst offensive possession metrics and defensive responsibility metrics on that team. He was a constant liability. But his finishing was excellent. He was shooting at over 15% and was just making the right play and doing well with primary assists and with finishing on shots. That's great and all, but all the underlying metrics are like, this guy doesn't really have it anymore, but hey, he's finishing his chances. Now, the Boston Bruins are a team I complain about a lot for their lack of finishing ability. So it's a little hypocritical of me to start complaining about bringing in a guy who basically last year only finished. Other issues I'm kind of seeing with this, he was under 45% from the dot, which is not great. He had more giveaways than he had takeaways. And again, this is the Chicago Blackhawks we're talking about, so that shouldn't be held against him too feverishly. He equated 48 hits across 67 games, which I don't think really qualifies him as a power forward type. There's just nothing that stands out as like he had a great season, other than the point totals that are buoyed by having a plus 15% shooting percentage and some of the best finishing numbers of his career. And I don't mean that as like the most points of his career. I mean just his ability to finish on plays was just way higher than usual, especially for the years beforehand, which were abysmal, really bad. He's, in a weird way, a 35, 36-year-old reclamation project, and it's fine. like, this isn't me harping all over it because he's a depth signing. I'm not going to lose sleep over this at all. I'm seeing a lot of people get really pumped up about it. And as much as I'm like, yeah, let's see what he can do. He should be well rested, should be ready to go pretty much immediately. He'll have to get up to game speed, but the energy, the legs will be there. I just don't expect anything from him. I really don't. I don't expect really much positive from him at all. And it's kind of funny going through Twitter and everyone's talking about, like, finally, we got him in, all this good stuff. But then you look at every analytics guy out there, he's like, oh, man, I really hope he looks better than he has for the last, 4 years. I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm clearly being negative, and I don't like being negative. But this one is a bit of a stretch for me as far as a game changer. If it's simply to light a fire under Geeky and have him compete for that role, I understand, because Geeky has been nothing short of disappointing so far this season. Or even Frederick. It could light a fire under Frederick as well, who also, needs to perform better. But if this knocks a guy out who is healthy and productive, it's going to be really confusing to me. If it knocks out anyone on our fourth line, I'm flabbergasted. If it pushes out Patra, just so that he can have more time in the AHL, even with how effective he's looked, I'll be shocked. If it pushes out Brazeau, who I've been critical of, but has continued to produce on a second-line role, what am I supposed to say there? Why is he being punished for that? I'm curious where they're trying to slot him in, or if it's simply just to make sure that they have the depth they need going forward in case there's an injury and he can jump in. Tyler Johnson is one of the best hockey players in the world because he's in the NHL. That's an honest statement. He's one of the best hockey players in the world. It's just next to those other best hockey players in the world, I don't think he's very good. It was weird, and I think it has more to do with the cap, that they decided to do this now rather than 4 games ago when the team was just bottoming out and they needed a jolt. I guess that's a lot of my confusion as well. Like, what's your end goal here? What's going on? It doesn't have to do with the Pastrnak benching in the third period, which I didn't even mention in the last video because it completely slipped my mind somehow because I am the worst. I don't think so. I don't think it has anything to do with that. For those of you thinking he can jump into a top 6 role, please pump the brakes heavily. He should not touch the top 6. But, hey, we've got a few players right now who aren't playing like top 6 players, so who am I to say anything about it? This is a signing for depth. A signing that none of us should lose our minds about because, hey, it's fine. It's a league min contract that you can chuck right down the AHL if he's not having a use for you at that time. It's not a big deal. It's just not going to change the outlook of this team at all, in my opinion. And I'm very surprised by how many people seem to be very excited about this signing. And I'm sure at some point during the Bruins looking like hell, not that that's super over because we won 2 games against bad teams, but the truly bottom of the barrel moment, I'm sure I was like, bring in Tyler Johnson, something, just to inject some sort of energy into the team. But I'm also not going to sit here and be like, it changes the whole landscape. I guess that's really what I'm getting at. Toss in your predictions, what you think he's going to do, where he's going to slot for this team. Because I'm curious. I assume he's going to be right wing third line as they try to get Geeky's game back to normal. But other than that, I don't exactly see where he's going in right away. And if they try to put him onto the fourth line and knock somebody out, there's going to be a riot in Boston. Because the fourth line is the favorite part of the team by the large majority of the fan base right now. I don't think that's a stretch at all. Anyway, we signed somebody. Neat! Go Bees. Go Bees! Of course, we have to give a huge thank you to everyone who's supporting this channel, especially the high-quality inspectors, our top-line tier members, Chris and Erica, Jeff with a G, Tommy Braga, The Bugman, Roland22, GD Viperworks, Len Cruz, Moonlighter TV, Brock Nope, Han Slomo, Coach D, The Atomic Lizard, Bradley Johnson, Aaron Adams, Brett Arney, Pincent, Adam Ella, and Nick Citrullo. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel. You're all studs and studettes. And of course, a huge thank you to the Stallions, our all-star tier members, Joel, Doots42, Heil E. Coyote, Darren Woodbury, Abraxion, John Kirk, Michael DiPaolo, Wolf Warrior, Vinny, Adrian Winter, Tupton D. Tashi, Nightmare Eco, Bruins Smash, DeKingery, The Only Newts, A Tasty Snack, Dash Riprock, Jacob Pratt, and Jeremy. You are all absolute legends. I appreciate you eternally. And as usual, go Bees!